And we're live. All right. Hey, welcome to Federal Prison Talk. My name is Sean Cowgill. Hey, guys, I've been in federal prison. I've been out about 3 years, and I make videos and interviews and informational videos and everything about what happens before prison, during prison, after prison in the federal justice system. I went to a minimum security camp. So I kind of deal with the nonviolent guys out there. So this channel, if you're looking at how you want to make tattoo guns and shanks and all that stuff, there's a lot of other channels that do that. I'm more for the average Joe kind of guy who goes to prison. Believe it or not, they got prisons for us too. And I got one here with me right now. I don't know if he's the average Joe, but we're average Joes are felons too. Believe it or not, we're just not violent. Anyways, I got how do you say Caleb or Salib?
Caleb.
I got to remember. Caleb. So Caleb's going to prison, guys, next week, 4 years. He got caught with a firearm, and he was a felon. But in Texas, I'm going to let him tell the story. Caleb, you want to tell these guys maybe the story
of sure.
Texas law and why?
Yeah, Texas law actually says a felon can possess a firearm as long as it's in their residence, as long as it's been 5 years past conviction. And my conviction is actually from whenever I was 18, 19 years old. So anytime I Google it, is it okay to have a firearm if I'm a felon in Texas? It pops up, yes, it's okay as long as it's 5 years past. So honestly, I had no clue that I was even in the wrong. Yeah. And that federal law says something totally different. Federal law says that no matter what state you're in, no matter where you're at, a felon could never possess a firearm. It doesn't matter if it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and federal law trumps state law.
So it does in a lot of things, like for marijuana laws that the different states fighting it over. But I used to argue that if a cop pulls me over for not wearing my seatbelt, federal law says I don't have to, right? Federal law says I can talk on my cell phone while I drive, not the state law. So which one are they going to choose? The one, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And especially feds, where they spend all the time and resources to come get you.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to get you on something. They're going to indict you on something for sure.
Yeah. So you've been on pretrial quite a while, right?
Yeah. I first got arrested. It's been a little over 3 years. I've been fighting this case.
Yeah, that's a long time. And I know a lot of people that watch this channel are going through what you went through. They're waiting for their sentencing date. They call me all the time. And I was 4 years on, and I know it's a living hell, isn't it? I mean, your life's on hold. You can't start anything. You can't really pursue careers. I mean, I was out working at a restaurant on pretrial, and they wanted me to be manager, and I couldn't tell them, look, I'm going to prison. I don't know if it's this year or next year, but I can't do it. I didn't tell them that, and then your family and your friends, the ones you do tell that you got this case, they probably don't think you're going to prison after 2 years, right?
Right.
How many times did you hear you're only going to get probation?
Oh, a lot of times. Everybody said, man, they're going to drop this. They're not going to take you. It's been too long. For a gun, that's ridiculous to go to prison. But
yeah, and this is Texas, and it's not going to fly. And they don't let you just hang out for 2 years, 3 years, and then send you to prison. Yes, they do, right?
Yeah, everybody in Texas is shooting them off,
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel if we did our time and we paid our debt to society, I think felons should have a gun. Maybe not the felons who had a gun charged to begin with. To become like if you rob a bank, maybe you can't have a gun. But
right. I understand violent crimes. You rob somebody with a weapon, or
right.
You have a long history of violence. But yeah, I mean my original case, it was just a possession of controlled substance, 1.1 grams. And like I said, I was just a kid.
That's personal use. Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Well, it's nothing today. Back then it was. When I got caught with it 20, 30 years ago, it was, 6 months to a year in jail for $20 worth of it.
Yeah.
Texas is still pretty hard on their drug laws, right?
Yeah, they're pretty tough.
Is that all of Texas?
This is the place where they lock you up and throw away the key, man.
Yeah. I heard Texas is hard. Marijuana's not legal there, is it?
No,
it probably won't be. It'll probably be one of the last states to cave in on if they even do, right?
Yeah, they should have got on board first, and they could have been making a lot of money off of it.
I don't know if they care about the money over there. I don't know. Texas is kind of independent as it is, right? Where at one time Texas was going to be its own republic. Do you know the history?
Nuh-uh.
Well, if they were going to have their own Revolution War, and they were going to break away from the states, I don't know, in the 1800s, and it was going to be the Republic of Texas. Yeah, they didn't need anybody else, man.
Oh, right.
Texas,
Yeah, I just know other places like Colorado and places, they started doing it, and they're like funding schools, and the money's going to good uses. It's not just it's not just a bunch of dope dealers with nice cars and big rims.
No. I was in California when they made it legal, and then now I'm here in New Mexico, and it just became legal this year. It's people trying to get used to it now, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, you can't. There's nowhere to smoke it that's legal. That's they haven't decided that. You're not. If you have kids in your house, you can't smoke in your house. If you live in apartment buildings, you can't smoke there. Can't smoke in a public park. Can't smoke on a public street. I don't know where they expect you to smoke it, but it is legal.
Yeah, smoke it in the bathroom.
I guess. I know Colorado has certain little areas that you can, designated kind of buildings and parks and things that they allow smoking in. But they haven't done that here in New Mexico. Texas, I don't know. But anyways, I want to talk about you today, and if anybody, let me read some of these comments. Let's answer some questions, because I know some of these guys are going through pretrial, and then maybe you can tell us your legal, what your pretrial was like, what kind of plea deal you got, what you were looking at,
Sure.
Stuff like that. Let me get some of these comments. We got Nick here. I got sentenced to 4 years supervised release. Oh, he got sentenced to 4 years supervised. No time, huh, Nick?
Nice.
Oh,
Nick.
I know you've been coming on this channel for a while. I don't remember what your charges were and stuff, but hey, man, that's good news for people out there.
Yeah, that's really good news.
Now everybody's going to want that, but TJ says, "Damn, 3 years and then got to do 4 years. That sucks. Pretrial was horrible. I was on pretrial a year and a half." Yeah, I mean, for me, it was I got my house raided, and then it was a year after that I got indicted. Then 4 years of pretrial, and then I got a little time off in the prison. But I still did 3 years there, and then 3 years federal probation. It's an 11-year sentence for me. The way I look at it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I look at it too. They gave me 2 years probation afterwards, and then 1 year of drug rehabilitation, like outpatient type.
Okay.
So
Nick says he got sentenced yesterday, I guess. Wow. Okay. Man, you must be feeling good, man. That's great. Streets of Atlanta, how did you get self-surrender? Yeah, that's a good question that people always want to ask. Since I know there's people out there on ankle bracelets and their lawyers are telling them you don't get to self-surrender, you'll be remanded into the marshal's custody. I just went through last week with a Russian guy and his mother. She was 50 years old. He was like 26. He got 18 months. The mother got 4 years, and they both went to camps, and they both got the self-surrender. But they were flight risk. They were from Russia. They were they were born here, but then they lived in Russia, came back here, and all the flight. Anyways, he got the self-surrender, and I told him he would. His lawyer told him there's no way in hell you're going to self-surrender. I told him you would because you've done good on your pretrial. But tell them how to answer his question if you can.
Yeah, I think if you're nonviolent, and let's say you don't fail any of your UAs, you go to whatever classes, pay everything you're supposed to, and plus if you're on pretrial for so long and you've never screwed up, never tried to run, because I'm not gonna lie, everybody, when you're going to prison, those thoughts run through your head. I could just take off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if I could get a fake ID like I see in the TV shows and all that, and go live in some foreign country.
Let's be honest. I could skip town and go live in a forest somewhere. But the fact that you stay and you do everything they tell you to do, you pass all your UAs, you're really compliant, and you make sure that your lawyer asks for it. You say, look, I have this at home. I need to say bye to these people. I have a wife. I have, whatever you have. You make sure to put it out there on the table for that judge, and then make sure your lawyer asks for a self-surrender.
Yeah, make sure your lawyer asks. A lot of lawyers only handled people that go to the penitentiary, when it comes to nonviolent and white collar crimes, some lawyers that you hire say they have federal experience. They really don't with your type of case. They don't know about self-surrender. They don't know about custody level points. You need 11 points or less to get in a camp. When that you're going, I think we talked about that you're going to the camp.
Yeah, I think I have 4. I averaged mine out, and it was like 4 or 6 or 4.
So his designation letter, was it a letter you got or just a word? How did you know it was FCI?
I got it through a letter and an email. It said that I'm supposed to self-surrender to Oakdale FCI.
Oakdale FCI. So I want to tell you guys
3rd.
out there, the FCIs are the main hub of all prison complexes. Some prison camps are all by themselves, but most of them are a satellite. They call it a satellite camp or an adjacent camp next to a bigger prison or next to a couple bigger prisons. And one of those prisons runs the whole complex. The camp doesn't. So the camp only works for them. So you'll check in at the FCI, and then they're going to assign you they're going to assign you to the camp. But you'll still be tied in with the FCI. You'll do day work over there. They'll send you over there for the day to do laundry, do landscaping. When they go on lockdown, and those guys go on lockdown quite a bit, well, at least in penitentiaries and the mediums, we have to go over there and make all their bologna sandwiches for 2 months or something, and do their laundry and empty their trash. It's crazy, man. That's what campers do.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, and you get $1 a day for that. Oh boy.
I'll be living lavish.
You get $1 a day, man. And they never paid us. They always promised to. But so back to self-surrender, streets of Atlanta. I guess are you? I'm guessing you are coming up on sentencing, and maybe need to self-surrender. So if you're out right now and you're watching this, chances are you're going to self-surrender. It's rare. You got to do something really. You got to violate your pretrial agreement to. Well, then they'll remand you anyways and put you. A lot of times they'll put you back in jail or prison, a prison detention center while you wait for sentencing, and you don't get any time credit for that. So if you violate on your pretrial, it's going to be 2 more years till you get sentenced, and you cross state lines or whatever it is, talk to a co-defendant, do something that you weren't supposed to, they decide to lock you up, you don't get any time credit for that. So remember that, guys. Let's see. TJ says, Nick, what was your charge? Yeah, I know you talked about, Nick, not Nick. Yeah, we don't know. I don't remember what Nick's charge was. Let's see if he says it here. Wendy. Hey, Wendy, how we doing? She says, hello, Caleb. Wait, how do you say your name again?
Caleb.
Caleb. I don't know. I'm sorry about that, man.
Hey, Wendy, how's it going?
17 guidelines. Level 17 guidelines? I'm going to grab my guideline chart, see how much time it is. I'm surprised you got 4 probation. So I don't know what your category level was, but it starts off. Category 1 is 24 to 30 months. Category 2 is 27 to 33 months. Category 3 is 30 to 37 months. Category 4 is 37 to 46 months. Category 5 is 46 to 57, and the high end of 6 is 57 or 50. 51 to 63. So you're looking at between 18 and 23 months. So a year and a half. 18 and 63 months. So a year and a half to 5 years, depending on your criminal history. So let's just average 2 or 3 years is probably what you would have got. I don't know how you pulled it off, man. Tell us, Nick. Nick, if you want to come on, I'll give you a link. Let me finish talking here, though. If you want to come on and tell us, how you pulled that off, because we'd really like to know. Let's see here.
Yeah, I'll go back in time and try that.
Yeah.
Whatever he did.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, for sure.
He says, I did good on pretrial. I never messed up. Did community service. Yep. I always tell people to do that. 24 months. So you were category 1, I'm guessing. That was kind of what they wanted to instead. So they gave you double the amount in probation. Wow. Yeah, category 1, he says. Okay, that clears that up. Wow. What category were you? Do you remember?
I was category 3, I think.
Okay. And do you remember your sentencing guideline numbers?
I think I was 24 points. So
24 points at level at category 3 or 2 or 3. for level 2, category 2, it's 57 to 71 months. Category 3, it's 63 to 78. So that's like 5 to 6.5 years on category 3, and you got 4. So lately, I mean, the last 2 years since the pandemic, everybody I've talked to that has something to do with this show or calls me has gotten a year or 2 less than they thought they were going to get. 90% of them. So how did you feel? Because you got less than you thought, right?
I did, but man, you just always I mean, whenever you're getting sentenced, you're sitting there beside your lawyer and your judge is asking these questions. You got the prosecutor, saying, "Oh, he needs these points for this," and you just kind of feel like they could have argued more, like at least said something.
Yeah,
I felt like my lawyer wasn't all there, but yeah,
yeah,
it was a lot better. It could have always been a lot worse. I'd look at things, half full. So
did your lawyer prepare you for your personal allocution, your letter? Did you your personal narrative letter? Did you write one of those? Did you
I
talk?
I wrote one of those. I had good reference letters.
So you say good reference letters. Tell me how did you get your reference letters? Were just templates and you handed them out to people, or how did you?
Well, no, I just
had good letter.
I just had my wife and a couple really close friends just say who I was and what they who they were and what they thought about me, and I'm not the only person being sentenced. All of them are too.
Yeah, the family does time too as well. Did
Right.
anybody help? Did your lawyer help you with the letter? Did you call one of these other guys from the shows to help you? Or
no, not really. I mean, my lawyer told me like what kind of stuff needs to go into it, and we just kind of freestyled.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got less time, so I mean, you didn't do anything wrong. I just know a lot these lawyers see hundreds of letters every month, maybe thousands, depending on how many people they're sentencing, but they start to all look the same to the judge, and most people they get templates, they get them off the internet or they pay somebody and they kind of cut and paste, copy and paste their name in there. I help people do with the letters too, but I make sure it's a personal letter. You got to take accountability for what you did. The person that writes the letter has to know that you robbed the bank. Maybe you were an angel growing up. You were the sweetest kid ever, but you're not that sweet kid now. So that's got to be put in the letter. And but then the letter should say what you've been doing on your pretrial to try to turn things around, and that they have hope for you. And if you don't have to do too many years in prison, there's a chance you come out a better person. And that's what I try to tell people to put in the letter.
Yeah, I think hiring somebody like you to write the letter or something would really be the best possible idea out there. Because
I call up I call up your relative, your friend, your boss, whoever you tell me that you want to write the letter. I call up and I work with them on the letter. We'll kind of write it together, and so we get something special, something that the judge doesn't see every day.
Right. So, I feel like lawyers. I mean, don't get me wrong. You guys might have like a good lawyer out there. At least you feel like you do, because I know I did, because my lawyer is pretty high dollar, but they're really like car salesmen. Like whenever you first, they're gonna be like, man, we're gonna beat this case. Like you're not gonna do a day. Because that's what I was told for so long. Like
I was just talking. Yeah. Go on. I got something to say about that too.
They just say, they violated your right in every single way, and look, we can prove it, and this and that. Well, whenever you get in the courtroom with the prosecutors, and I mean, it looks great. You have video conference from all these people saying why they violated your rights. I mean, at the end, the judge, 90-something% of the time says, appeal denied, and you just kind of feel like, what happened? I thought we were supposed to beat this thing today. Like I came here because you said this is the last day I was going to come to court, and it doesn't usually happen like that. They just kind of reel you in, and I mean they represent you. They might be good, but you can't always believe everything they say.
So here's my deal with lawyers. They all have this hustle. Every time you go to hire a lawyer, Oh, sorry, phone's ringing. They're going to tell you this. I know the prosecution. I know the district attorney. I know the court reporter. You know, they're married to my brother's sister-in-law, and I've known them for years. And don't worry, I work with these guys every day. They're friends of mine. That doesn't do me any good. That's great for your job. What does that do for me? That your daughter is going to school with the prosecutor's daughter, and your sister married his uncle. Who cares? That doesn't do me any good. But that's their hustle, right? Don't they all say how they know the people in the courts and the judge? Did you hear that when you got hired? When you hired yours?
He said that he was a fair judge, and that was it. Yeah. And then the judge changed. I got a different judge at the end that I got sentenced by. So,
well, then he didn't. He had a different hustle, because I think they all kind of learned this. They want to get you. They want the client to pay him money, and then I know a lot of guys.
He did say he was really cool with the prosecutor. He's like, "Oh, I know John.
Okay.
Yeah, I talk to him all the time. We're good friends. Blah blah blah."
And
right.
So you're that good of friends that he's going to let me off?
Right.
Maybe Nick's lawyer actually did know him pretty good, because he got four years probation instead. So, but I say, you know what, if you got a lawyer that's been doing this 30, 40 years and he's old, man, at that point, I think they're burnout. You're just making their second house mortgage payment for them. I say get a young lawyer 5-10 years out of law school, where they're still eager, and they want to make a name for themselves, and they want to do all the work, and but when you get those old guys that've been doing this for 20, 30 years, I think I don't think they're going to work for you, man. They're probably going to have their interns do it and their staff do it anyways. But get a young Jewish lawyer. But in the Fed, you can get a public defenders work just as hard. That's what I had. I felt mine did a great job. So they worked hard for me, and they answered the phone too.
Yeah, I had 2 lawyers, and the main guy I hired, he showed up to court twice. But I went to court like plenty of times in over 3 years. But the guy in the background, which I actually was the one who I was talking to, he was the one putting in all the work and filing all the paperwork and everything. And he was a newer guy. He was newer with the company. So.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about. So you got through pretrial. I don't know if you want to talk about this, but you got some. A lot of us, when I was on pretrial getting ready to go to prison, I had family members that wouldn't talk to me anymore. Friends that just ran away. They weren't friends. I don't know where everybody went, but when they raided my house, I got evicted, and the landlord evicted me, and I no longer, they froze all my bank accounts. I actually ended up homeless while I was on pretrial.
Wow.
And then pretrial gave me they put me in a residential drug and alcohol program. It was that or go to jail, because I couldn't live on the streets. But you had something worse. You had somebody leave you. You feel like talking about?
Yeah, man. My wife actually just left me 2 weeks ago, and that was a hard blow, because I was already kind of, I'm preparing myself mentally to go in and do my time, and I don't know, man. It was just like a feeling of abandonment. But but everybody else is sticking by me. Like I do have like a big support system.
But your wife, that's supposed to be for better, for worse. And I see it when the guys are in prison. If you've got a 5-year sentence or longer, the chances are, guys, your wife's not going to wait for you. She'll try.
I was telling her that the whole time.
They'll wait a couple years. Yeah. They usually wait a couple of years, but they don't usually leave before you go in. Wow. Right. That's got to hurt, man.
Yeah, it did. It hurt. It hurt really bad.
But at least and you don't have to stress while you're in prison. Now you just got to deal with the pain. And I don't know which one's worse. But a lot of guys go crazy in prison. Every time she won't answer the phone, and they got all these thoughts in their head, and they're their best friends over there, moving in on them, and they go crazy sometimes. So you won't go through that.
Right. I'm not going to worry about no phone calls or none of that. Letters or nothing. So
let me get some of these comments. This must be one of your buddies, Reen77.
Oh, probably.
Okay, and then we got Sea Dog in Cooper Show. Sea Dog and the Cooper Show podcast. Sea Dog's out of Tijuana, guys, and he's got a prison channel too. He's been in state prison and federal prison, but now he lives in Mexico. And check out his show. Check out his show. I've been on it. He's been on it. And hey, Sea Dog, if you want to come on here in a little bit, we're just gonna. I want to talk to Cleve here about the rest of his sentence and stuff that he's got to go to do. But then if you guys want to come on after, we got Khalil. What's up, Sean? Just accepted my plea, 18 to 24 months sentencing in February. Okay, so that's a good deal. It's not as good as the one Nick got, but Nick took a deal for 2 years and he got 4 years probation. So if we can get Nick to tell us his secrets, how he did that.
Yeah, I'm liking Nick's outcome.
Yeah, so guys, it's possible, and that's not the first time I've heard of this. I've heard of people getting who was it? Oh, there's another guy in the room here, TJ. He got probation, but his charge wasn't as serious. It was on an airplane. He had a fight with a flight attendant. So, but they were cracking down on that for a while. But I think they called it. They probably called it terrorism or something. They have these terms that they like to label crimes for, when he probably just yelled at the flight kids. It's something about wearing his mask or not wearing his mask, So he went off on her a little bit, but if you just touch him to back off, all of a sudden that's assault and battery. So you got to be careful on those planes. No, but he ended up getting home confinement too. So, anyways, with your 4 years, you didn't think you're going to get an RDAP, so we want to talk about that because your lawyer. I kind of like your lawyer. It looks like he does research for you. So we got something to show you guys here. When you want to tell them about this, we got some news for people trying to get a gun charge.
Yeah, I was worried because everything I've seen, crimes involving guns, you're not eligible for RDAP, and I was like, well, why would you tell me to let them know about drug problems and like all this stuff in my past if this? And he said, no, the new, that's been revised. Like in 2018, it was like any gun charge or anything involving a gun, you weren't eligible to go to RDAP. And now they're just, if you've been charged with 924C, which is like felon in possession of a gun connected to another crime, like let's say somebody wants a bunch of meth or something, and I go over there to take it and I get caught and I have a gun on me, that's 924C, right? And what I was charged with was 922G. So that doesn't disqualify me from RDAP. There was actually a couple cases, one year before last, of the people with the same charge. So I thought that was kind of cool.
There were two guys in my RDAP class that had gun charges too, and they got caught for drugs, but their guns were like at their house. It had nothing to do with the crime, and they had an enhancement on them, and they went to ask if they could get an RDAP, and they were denied. They said you could still take it, but you won't get any time off. So they decided to take it anyways because you at least get 6 months halfway house, and this was before the first step back credits. So they knew they'd at least get the 6 months halfway house. About a month or two after they're in there, they got called down to the office, and I think that must have been that exact rule that you're talking about when they updated in 2018, because that's when they all came back smiling that now they're going to have their year off, and they didn't really know why. Everybody was asking how they said there's some law now that if certain people with guns can take RDAP. So I'll pull it up here. You want to tell everybody what your lawyer did and what he sent you, and I'm going to pull this up for guys. And you can highlight. You can tell them the stuff he highlighted.
Yeah, he had went ahead and pulled up the I don't even know how he got it, but it was the new revised
a lot of the stuff on the BOP website's out of date. So, but lawyers have access to stuff,
Yeah, they have access to all that stuff, and it shows that it was saying you're disqualified if it was a 924C, and it that's having a weapon in the crime of either violence or drug trafficking.
Okay.
And I was only indicted. I was only charged with 922G, felon in possession of a firearm.
Okay.
I mean, that's still bad, I guess, but like,
yeah,
honestly, like I said, I never even knew I couldn't have a firearm. Like I was
right,
it's
because
kind
it
of
was
in shock.
legal. As far as you know, it was legal. Let me find the
Yeah, even
highlighted
like
part here. That
I even went to a gun shop as soon as the time was done, because like in the court they told me that I would be able. I said, I hunt a lot. Am I going to be able to have a
right,
rifle? And she said, yeah. Once it's 5 years passed from right now, whenever you sign. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, 5 years later, after I get out, I went to a firearms store and tried to purchase one, and they did the background check on me. And
oh, they did the background check. Yeah, so that's
yeah,
not a
they did the
federal
federal
check.
background check, and they said you can you can't you can have a firearm, but you can't purchase it from a a reputable fire. You have to buy it from like a gun show or like something like that. So even they told me
Oh,
like I can't purchase it federally, but I can have one. So I've always had it in my head that
all right.
So
Well, I'm going to read this highlighted stuff here. Just a couple paragraphs, guys. This is all the rules this is all the rules that will disqualify you for RDAP. And where's your highlighted thing here? So it says ineligible prisoners. A prisoner is ineligible to receive time credits under this paragraph if the prisoner is serving a sentence for a conviction under any of the following provisions of law. And it goes on to talk about relating to destruction of aircraft and piracy and drive-by shootings and destruction of motor vehicles, stuff like that, arson, all that. So it's going to list all those kind of serious crimes, right? And except there's one here that is lawyer highlighted. It's Roman numerals 22 XXII, section 924, relating to the unlawful possession or use of a firearm during and in relation to any crime of violence or drug trafficking crime. Do you want to explain that? I know you kind of just did, but want to go over that again?
Yeah, that's like I said. If like let's say I go and I beat the crap out of somebody or get in some fight with somebody, and I get arrested and I have a firearm on me, that's a crime of violence, Or if I pull a gun on somebody, or I'm threatening somebody with a weapon, that's a crime of violence. And then also drugs wise, if I'm going to sell some drugs and I have a gun on me and I get pulled over, and they're like individual baggies in my car, and I have a scale, then that's
it's
for
possession
sure.
with intent. Possession with
Right.
intent to distribute, right?
To distribute, right.
And then in California, if you've got it hidden underneath your seat or something, so they call that concealment of narcotics. And it's in the car, so it's transportation of narcotics, right? And then if it's on you, it's possession. So they there's 4 felonies right there. They like to charge. And then they always call it endangering. If you're near a school, you get a double sentence in California. They double the sentence. It's ridiculous. So everything underneath that is talking about relation to torture, to treason, to bank robbery. So wherever you bring a gun to do one of these crimes, like he just said, that's not, you're not going to get an RDAP. It's serious. And was there anything else you highlighted? I think that was it, right?
That was it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take this off here. If you guys want a copy of this, I can email you one. So my email address is underneath all my videos, or on my if you go to the channel, you just hit about. There's my email's on there, guys. I'll email you for free. Don't worry about it. He sent me a copy. If any of you guys are trying to get an RDAP, you want a copy of this, just send me an email and I'll send you just right back. It's no problem to do. So I want you guys to know that. I know some people are trying to get an RDAP. Let's catch up on some comments here. Let's see what we got going. Lawrence. Hey, Sean. Hey, Lawrence. What's going on? Oh, Larry. It's Larry Mendoza. I did time with him in Florence. Yeah. Larry, my buddy Larry. How we doing? So, a lot of guys I went to prison with, we're friends now, and we see each other on a daily basis. I just got a good friend of mine, a job working at Wings for Life. They made him a director of operations. Even they gave him a title of he's not getting paid as much, but he does my payroll now. I have to turn my hours into him. And so, we help each other out when we get out of prison. You guys don't know I work for Wings for Life, and we help out all the families that are, while you guys go to prison, your families are sitting home, high and dry, trying to feed the kids, get a job, make it through life while you're in there. So we help them out. And we help you guys too when you get out. Khalil, possession of a machine gun, level 17. Ooh, that's serious. Let me look up that one. A machine gun, huh? Fully automatic?
Yeah, that's what I was charged with the same thing. They dropped it.
So, you didn't even say what kind of gun did you have?
Well, there was 18 firearms.
Okay. 18, wow.
Yeah, and I was originally charged with felon possession of a machine gun, but through the plea deal, I just pled to felon in possession of a firearm.
And there was no mention of a 5-year mandatory minimum. I wonder if they're not doing that anymore.
No, I don't think they're doing that anymore. There's just the guidelines like you've seen with the points and the level.
They've been dropping a lot of these mandatory minimums. And Khalil, you got a level 17, man. Category 1, that's not much time at all. That's 24 to 30 months, man. The high end category 6 is 51 to 63. So it's a year and a half to 5 years for a machine gun. I guess there's no 5-year mandatory minimum for you either. Yeah, it sounds like that they're not doing that anymore. I've heard they're not really pressing that. I don't know if it's the media and the press getting on them. I don't know if it has anything to do with Biden or Trump or somebody, but they're not doing the mandatory minimums like they used to, man. Because you had 18 guns, before they would charge you a 5-year. They'd run a consecutive on each one. You end up getting a life sentence.
Yeah, they were trying to enhance it, with plus 4 points and all that. And luckily the judge was actually a very fair and smart. The prosecutor was like, yeah, he had this. He's like, well, what did he plead guilty to? That's what a plea deal is about. Like,
right.
Like if there was drugs at somebody's house and prostitution and whatever, like what did he just plead to the drugs, or did you can't charge him for the prostitution, you can't charge him for the guns, like that's what the plea deal is all about. So that's why it's good if you're gonna see, you don't want to go to, well, I don't know who you are, but you really don't want to go to trial because they'll smoke you. And if they don't,
they have like 96% conviction rate, something like that.
They're going to smoke you. And if you, even if somehow by some luck you did win, they're going to come back and they're going to be on you. Like, you're going to plead because everybody pleads. So it's better to do that sooner and, see what you can, plead to the less of whatever you have.
If you take it all the way to jury trial, they're going to give you the maximum. It's usually 20 or 30 years, and everybody gets that.
Right.
When you take it to jury trial, you get one offer in the feds, guys. Not like the state. You don't turn down the first one, turn down the second one, the third one will be the one you take. Not in the feds, man. You get one offer, man. Once in a while you get two, but you're right too when you said if you do win. I did time. A lot of guys, I won't say a lot, but I'm going to say 10 or 11 guys that I talked to in there had won cases 5 or 10 years ago. Now they came back on something new that they found on these guys. So they don't give up. You're on their hot list for life now. If you own a business, man, you better be squeaky clean with your books because they'll find any little thing, especially if you own a business, man. They love getting into your paperwork and auditing you. They'll find some federal law you broke, man. And
it's the feds, man. They got so much money. They're paying so many people. Yeah.
I mean, the more I find out how I want to say how evil the system is, because let's talk about indictment. Indictment? There's a grand jury, right? That I think it's 23 people that meet in secret, and prosecutors or district attorneys. Somebody goes in there, detectives. They go in there, investigators go in there, and they have a trial. You're not invited. You don't know where it is. You never get to meet the jury of your peers, all right? And you don't get to fight your case. You don't get to face your accuser. They all decide that you're guilty, and all they really need is hearsay. They just need a suspicion of a crime that you're doing to convince the grand jury to indict you, which means you're guilty. Now you find out later, hey, we had a trial and everything. Sorry you weren't there, but you're guilty and you're indicted. And now we're either going to lock you up in jail or we're just going to let you out, like we did on pretrial, till you can prove your innocence. And if you can do that, you don't have to go to prison, but you're not going to do that because we win 97% of the time. I mean, is this fair or what? This is not what I was taught in school about the Constitution.
Yeah, no, you're definitely guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah. Why don't I get to meet the grand jury? Why can't I pick the jury of my peers? Why can't I be at that grand jury hearing? Why can't I defend myself? I want to know.
Yeah, I do too.
How is that constitutional?
It shouldn't be.
So, and you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. No, you're indicted until you proven innocent. So, right. Well, it's very different than the state court, guys. Very different, and it's a living hell, man. 3 years, right? When you got sentenced, were you relieved?
Yeah. Yeah, because man, it was just so stressful. The not knowing they could give me X amount. They could, I just didn't know. I had no clue what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Man, it was really stressful. And then showing up, I would try to get my nerves all calm and I would get cool headed, and I'd pull up in front of the courthouse, and then, my heart would just doom, 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 I think,
right.
Shit.
I want to get to some of these comments, and if you don't mind, some of these guys have prison channels on here. Like I said, they might want to talk to you. So guys are putting the link up. If you guys want to come on in. You said you didn't mind the other day if these guys come in, do you? So get more advice from all this prison channels. So hey, C-Dog, if you're out there, and any of you guys that are watching, we all know each other. There's the link, guys. So come on in. Wendy, I know you never come on the shows, but you're always welcome to. There's the link, Wendy. And I thought I gave you a wrench last time. Wendy did get it. I'll have to do it again. So we got Reen 77. Oh, that's good to hear. Okay, is that Reen's? Okay, is that your friend? I think.
Yeah, probably.
Wasn't RDAP?
Yeah.
He says RDHAP. Wasn't RDAP part of the plea deal?
Yeah.
They can't. They don't have anything to do with RDAP. I'm going to tell you guys. So there's a RDAP coordinator or director that runs every program in every prison, right? Whether it be a medium, a low, or a camp. The director of the RDAP, they're called the coordinator, and they're also they usually have a couple PhDs or a doctor or they're a psychiatrist. They choose who comes in their program. Our RDAP coordinator used to tell us, it was a lady, Dr. Coulter Rodriguez. These guys come into my office. They're recommended by the judge. I laugh at them. Okay. I need something on paper. I need something documented. I'm not going to believe you. You're a criminal. You're a felon. You're in prison. So, and you just want the year off. So anything you say doesn't mean anything to me unless you got something documented. So if it's in your pre-sentence report, it's not just something you wrote in your pre-sentence report. There's got to be a little proof behind it.
Right. Yeah. The officer, the lady who actually did my PSR,
right.
Yeah, she was the one who had suggested it, and
C-Dog's in the house.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. C-Dog, what's going on? And there he is, my Tijuana guy.
All right, what's up, brother? How you guys doing?
Good, brother. How you?
You're in federal prison too, so maybe you got some advice for our young friend here. He's got to go through 4 years.
Oh, you're gonna go through 4 years, huh?
All right. Next week. He's going next week, turning himself in next week.
He's going to camp or what?
Yeah.
He's going to Oakdale. He thought he was going to go to the low, but there's a camp next to it. And like I told him, the paperwork says you got to check in at the low because they run the complex.
Oh,
so he'll get assigned to the camp because he only has 4 points, custody level points. So he'll go to a camp.
Hey, the camps are sweet, man. I heard the camps are.
Where were you? You probably went to. I never have to. Did you go to the Penn, medium?
Nah, I went to the first place I've ever went to was Terminal Island, San Pedro, Terminal Island.
I've heard of that one. That's
back in 19. That was back in 1995. The first time I ever did time in the feds.
Yeah.
You got some words of advice for his first day, his first week in prison? How?
Hey, back then they would give you like free phone calls, and they would give you stamps to call your people and things like that. You know?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
man.
what do you give him some words of wisdom when he first gets there, man? You know, who to talk to, who to not talk to, what to do, what not to do. You
You know what?
as
Basically, bro, in jail, man, just stick to your, like, I personally doing that. I've done some years in jail, bro, and just try to associate with the people that you feel that you get along with, that you got something in common. If you do want to,
right.
kick it with somebody. If not, just do your time and get out, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, man. I'm not worried about nobody.
Well, the lows in the camps, man, they don't have the politics like the higher up prisons do. You could talk to other races. There's really no cars or anything like that going on. So you can just be all by yourself all day long, and if you want to go solo, you can. But you're going to do 4 years. You'll probably get out in 2.5 years with all the. Well, if you get RDAP, you'll get out in, I don't know. I think we did 18 months. But you're gonna make some friends there, whether you want to or not. It's gonna happen, man. You're just, the guys that live next to you, guys in your class or on your job, you just make friends, man. A lot of people, I'm not making any friends in prison, man. Fuck you, I ain't making no friends.
I mean, I always make friends. A lot of people, I get along with everybody, but a lot of people I just don't. I don't know. I just don't have too much in common with them. But there's good people everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're in prison or on an island somewhere. You're always going to find somebody that's.
You guys are all going to have something in common in prison because everybody gets stripped down of everything they own. Yeah, they might have more money on their books than you or something, but but everybody's stripped down of. I mean, all their whole life's been taken away from them, and the biggest drug dealer is just as worthy as the homeless guy who went to prison for his crime. You know what I mean? All that power and prestige you got. I mean, there's shot callers in there and stuff, but you know what I mean? Sea Dog, everybody's stripped of everything they own, so they're kind of they're all in there naked, so to speak.
You're right. No, even it's just like you can only spend so much money on a commissary, bro. Even if you got millions on the streets, you're still the same. You ain't,
Yeah. I see guys with 20 pairs of shoes, and they pay somebody to clean their cell and buff the floor and do their laundry and iron, and you think they're living like the king. Well, all right, that's.
Yeah, I actually used to do that, man. There was a cellmate who had OCD real bad, and I seen him cleaning his cell really good with a toothbrush, and I knew he was hungry, didn't have nothing, so I gave him a couple soups, and he was like, I could clean your cell. And I just got addicted to my cell being so clean and sanitized, and he's washing my clothes and starching them and stuff. And
well, that's one of the big hustles in there. They have housekeepers, right? They have guys that'll pick up your laundry, they'll fold it, they'll iron it, they'll clean. They like those buffing machines, man. Every prison or jail I've ever been in, those floor buffers. I don't know that it's something about they just. And the Mexicans, what's the Mexicans in the buffing the floors, Sea Dog? What's up with that, man? They love to do that shit, man.
Or the porters. Hey, you know what? Yeah. Hey, to be honest with you, hey, you know what? They gave me a porter job over there in Oklahoma, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I even went to commissary. They paid me. I was there about a month, man, waiting on transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't self-surrender. You went through transport, huh? That's got to be hell, man.
Yeah, I went. You know what I mean? I went on the little ride. I was on a
Conair.
On the plane, Conair. Yeah.
Conair.
You know what? To be honest with you, back in the days when they first it was the old Oklahoma. Now it's a new reception center and everything. Before it was the old Oklahoma City. It was
that got blown up by Terry Nichols, didn't it? No, the Oklahoma City bomber, didn't he? Wasn't the jail part of that what he blew up?
Oh, I don't know what he blew up, but I know he ended up over there in underground over there in Florence.
Yeah. Well, I know I got to make his trays for a month before I left. So, oh no, I'm thinking El Chapo, but Nichols was in there. I think Nichols is alive and McVeigh's dead. One or the other. I get them mixed up. One of them.
They executed him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there will be plenty of hustles in there and stuff.
Oh yeah, there's lots of hustles, man. And I'll tell you this: if you're going to a camp or low, the cigarettes are really cheap. It's contraband now, and I'm not telling you to do that, but it's $2 or $3 for a cigarette. If you go to penitentiary, it's $20 for a rollie, and that's even if somebody will sell you one because tobacco is really scarce.
When I was over there in Florida, in Coleman, we had tobacco. One of my partners, he was Asian. I don't know. He was getting it from somewhere. He was getting cartons of cigarettes, $20 a cigarette. Whole cigarette.
$20 a cigarette. Yeah.
Yeah. Where I was, I actually used to sell them. Where we would take the trash out from the guards, we would take their dip that they were dipping in their mouth, their spitting tobacco.
Yeah.
We would dry it out on a newspaper, and that's what we would roll the cigarettes with and sell them for $2 a piece.
They're still doing that in prison now. It's God, that's insane. Yeah, and I guess a lot of the guards chew. In a camp, you don't need the guards because there's no fence. You just have somebody drop something off for you. So the guards they have no power in a camp. There's no manipulation going on. You don't need them.
They got crews that are at the camp that go out to the city and go work, right? So they go out there and do some things, don't?
Yeah, that's one of the jobs. You do some kind of landscaping. They work like city parks and maybe around the courthouse and city hall, and they do all the landscaping. And they give them projects to do. And usually they work with city workers, and they'll usually buy them pizza and stuff for lunch. And all the time. I've heard they buy them beer sometimes too, and they're not supposed to. But campers, man, they're spoiled, man. They got everybody else in prison hates the campers. All the other higher up prisons, they hate campers. You'll see guys that came from the penitentiary, they worked their way down. Now they got 4 years left. They just got their camp points. They're going home in 4 years. They can't stand us without our just free reign and no rules and no politics, no fence. They hate us, man, because we have no law and order in their mind, Yeah,
on the website it was saying they had like pool tables and
always they all have pool tables. Our pool tables are fucked up. They didn't have any velvet on them for like a year. They finally bought some, but you'll have pool tables, music rooms, gyms with all the with all kinds of treadmills and what do you call it? Ecliptic, whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Is that the word? Help me out here.
Are you talking about without free weights or?
Yeah, well, they're pretty much all the free weights are gone now. They've started taking them away. They took them away as punishment for finding cell phones in the prison.
Oh wow!
So they took the weights away. Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of cell phones in there, man. Don't get a cell phone, dude. You get 500 free minutes right now a month. Free minutes to use the phone. You can only talk 15 minutes and it hangs up and you got to wait an hour. But you get caught with a cell phone, man, you lose all your good time. You get thrown in the chute for at least 90 days while they investigate because they're going to go through the phone and find out anybody that used that phone, any number that's in it that's any way affiliated with anybody on your paperwork. They're going to come after those guys. So don't borrow a phone. Don't trust them that they're going to delete the number because they go to a tower where it gets pinged and they get this. Every month they get a sheets of they get records of all the phones that were pinged on this one tower, at least at the camp I was at, and they go through the records, all those phone numbers, any phone number that matches up.
So even if I deleted it out, they could still find out.
Oh yeah, it's still gonna be in there. Yeah, it's a record, bro. You can't delete that shit.
Yeah. You'll never go. You'll never see. You'll be behind a fence for the rest of your time, and you lose all your good time. And sometimes they throw more time on you, and you're going to spend half of your time in the shoe. It's not worth having a cell phone, man.
That's not worth it. I wouldn't suggest you get a cell phone. That's the last thing I would even think about, a cell phone.
I got guys call me up from prison that some guys have been on my show here. Dude, what are you doing? They're calling me, hey man, I'm here. I got the numbers right now. I could call them back, but I told them, erase my number, man. The prison sees that, man, and they're gonna shut me down, man.
They're gonna come shut you down, man.
No, because I got 2 months left on federal probation. My probation officer was fine with me doing the show, but if she gets a call from a prison that they're calling my show live from the prison. She's not gonna do this, man. Yeah, one guy wanted to come on live, man. He was panning all the range in the prison. I was tempted to put him on, but no. That's just setting myself up. Yeah, stay away from the cell phones, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do any programming, any courses, any I'm just gonna try to better myself in education while I'm in there. That way, you know, I look more like a model prisoner.
Right. So remember what I said. Take a copy of this that your lawyer sent you to state your case with the RDAP coordinator. Plus, it's in your PSR work that you qualify. You have all the drugs and alcohol, listed, and it's all been documented. And let her know the scenario that it doesn't list your 920 charge on there, and that it was revised in 2018. And hopefully you'll get in our. Hopefully they'll let you in. I think you will.
On my pretrial, I also, the beginning of it, for the first year, I was in a drug treatment program. I did it I think 3 days a week or something like that.
Okay. There is an alternative, though. Did I talk to you about this the other day? The non-residential drug and abuse program. Did I tell you about that one?
No, but I had read about it.
It's called non-RDAP, and I think all prisons offer this. And it's 200. It's a $200 course. You go 2 or 3 days a week. And they let you out of work to do this. And anybody can take it, even if you don't have a drug or alcohol problem, because it's prevention of you becoming an alcoholic. But it's good for 6 months halfway house or home confinement time. Now that the First Step Act is in. When I took it, we only got 1 month extra halfway house time. But now it's 6 months because of the First Step Act. The credit.
Do you think that would stack on top of RDAP? Like if you got 6 months and then another 6 months, you think you could?
Yeah, you could get a year. Now they're doing that, so you can get a whole year. So you're going to start at the halfway house, and when you get there, they're going to send you to home confinement, depending. So you're only supposed to do 10% of your sentence on home confinement. So if you got 4 years, you can only do 4 months home confinement. So if you get a year halfway house or home confinement, you're going to have to do 8 months at the halfway house and then the last 4 at home. That's how that works. So a lot of people think, no, I got a house, I'm going straight to home confinement. No, man. The halfway house runs home confinement. They have their own kind of probation officer go check on you there, and it's all up to them.
But at least, in a halfway house, you can still see your people and stuff, right?
You see people, you get a job, you get to make money, but it's like coming home to a jail every night. It's like furlough in a jail. Some jails have the weekend furlough, or you do weekends in a jail.
That's a furlough.
It's kind of like that.
Yep.
Well, that's a lot better than being in jail.
Let me catch up on some comments, guys. Let me see here. Where am I at? Reams. What's is it showing up? Hold on.
Yeah, like you said, bro, just take some courses, whatever. Like they got college courses and things that catch your attention, bro. Study,
right.
Do something.
Yeah.
So I got something. I got a pop-up ad flashing in front of me here. So it says, that's great to hear. Wasn't I already read that one. Thanks, Sean. Read that one. Don't they have bigger problems to solve? I'm not sure. I don't know what you know what he meant by that?
Nope.
It must have been something we were talking about. I'm sorry, we got delayed there on answering these comments. And then I put the link up. We got ellipticals. Thank you. He helped me out. Ellipticals. He knew what I was talking about. I saying eclipticals or something. Ellipticals.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now you know. Brian Miller. It is a shame that it's come to this. Okay. Yes, it is. And then he says, legally hated for. I can't see it. Can you see what it says?
I really hate it for you, bro.
Oh, I really hate it for you, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too, man.
Yeah. But you're gonna get through this, man. You're going to a safe place. You're going to a safe prison, believe it or not. You'll come out alive. You'll come unscratched, and hopefully you come out a better person. Work on your mind, your body, your soul. Go to, they got all kinds of religious stuff going on there. Probably 20 different brands of religion if you want to go that way. But that's also a good place to, I used to go to movie night in the chapel on Saturday nights, and I had my own chair and all the different, Jewish guys, Catholic guys, Wiccans, every Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah we're all in one room watching a movie every Saturday night, man. I love Saturday nights. I bring, chips and candy and stuff. I'd hand stuff out, and everybody had their own chair. It held 200 guys. So there's 200 of us. We watch a movie every Saturday on a big giant screen inside of in the chapel room. So I really enjoyed that. And I went to some of their other services. I went to every type of church. I wanted to try everything from Baptist to Lutheran to Catholic. I tried them all. I did one a week just to see. You know what I mean?
That's cool that you really enjoyed stuff in prison, man. I like that, man.
I read the Quran, I read the Torah, and I reread the Bible. So I read all three. And I read part of there's a religion where they worship Thor, and I think it's called Asur.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's in prison. That's kind of big. That's the woods, the bikers in the woods. They're kind of into that one, right?
Yeah, up there in the USP, they're into that.
They're into that, man. Yeah, and then the Native Americans have the sweat lodge, right? And they have all their things going. Yeah, and then they have Wiccans. You can practice Wiccanism. Yeah,
you got that Wicca.
It's recognized. It's recognized in the prison system. Yeah, it's recognized.
Right, it is recognized.
Yeah. And also, after a year and a half, when you do 18 months in a prison in a camp, you can get what they call a social furlough for the weekend. You can get a weekend pass. I saw about a dozen guys get one.
Serious?
Yeah.
After what? How long?
Yeah. Well, then they'll give you furloughs for a funeral. They'll give you for
a funeral.
No, but in the camps you can get a social furlough, or you can get a special one if you're having a baby born. But you have to have done 18 months with no write-ups, and every 6 months you have a team meeting. So that's your unit director, your case manager, your counselor, and sometimes the associate warden shows. And they meet with you every 6 months and they evaluate what you did. They're going to add up all your earned time credits for the First Step Act. If you had any write-ups, they're going to lower your classification points or raise them if you had write-ups. So your points go down. And on that 6 months is when you turn in your furlough pass. And I have them. I put them. I had a link on there. But if anybody out there wants a weekend furlough, the link's under some of my videos. And
hey, you know what? You're right. I remember. Yeah. I remember.
You can print out that furlough and send it to your person in prison. Print and send it to them because it's hard to get one. The counselors don't want to give you one, even though they're required to. But if it's all filled out correct, you get a weekend pass after 18 months in prison. But you got to have the application, and that's the hard thing to get. But I got them. They're good. They're good in any prison. So.
Yeah, I put that in my notes. I seen that furlough. I thought that was pretty cool.
No, I seen guys get it. Just to go, home to their family. It was great. But now you can't travel more than they're going to give you they're only going to give you I think 10 hours of travel, and then you got to come back after 48 hours. So you can't go too far. One guy stayed they got a hotel room for the weekend. So if you live far away, I think it's 10 hours of travel, but that's 5 on each end. 5 to go home and 5 to come back. So
cool. And what do you know about like the First Step Act and the CARES Act and things like that? What is that?
Well, there's also the Compassionate Release Act. So the Compassionate Release, it used to be if you could prove that if you have a medical condition that you feel is where you're going to live, probably not going to make it more than 5 years, that compassionate release, or you have such a severe medical condition, like you're in a wheelchair, you have to be hand fed, like you need a nursing home, and the feds do have that medical facilities they put you in. But if you can prove that you have your own house to go to already, and that saves them the money, and you've done 50% of your sentence, you apply for the compassionate release. And, they give it maybe to 10% of people who apply for it. They gave a lot more out during the pandemic. Then there's the CARES Act, all right? And that's very similar to that. Now, the CARES Act was only good for, I believe, you had to do 70% of your sentence. You could do the last 30% at home, but they would also give you extra halfway house time or home confinement time, so they could end up doing 50% of your time in the camp and 50% at home. And I don't know if those numbers changed because of the pandemic, but that you have to apply for these once you're a prisoner, once you're in prison.
Right.
But you can start the application process now because in prison, there are typewriters, but you don't really have information that you want to fill out the form.
Yeah, I'll have somebody send me the applications once I'm in there, so I can fill them out.
You want to know your doctor's name, number, and addresses, and you want valid data to put down because if there's a computer in prison you can email, but you can't go on Google. So if you need to look something up, an address or the name of your disease or what prescriptions you need or what the surgery is going to be that you need, things like that, and you just don't know, it's hard to fill that form.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get nothing like that. Like I'm 100%. I'll probably live till I'm 100. I guess I was looking at the First Step Act and then something else.
First Step Act, so you get for every 30 days of programming you do, you can have 15 days off if you're a nonviolent criminal with no weapons charges. In your case, even though the gun can get you, that charge will get you an RDAP, you're only going to get 10 days for every 30. I'm pretty sure. But now
that's for any program I'm in, like the RDAP count.
Yeah, any program. Yeah, so it's they cracked down on the feds about a year and a half ago, and because they weren't doing the work. They weren't calculating their time. They weren't setting up a halfway house time for them. Halfway house said, well, we're full. We can't take them anyways. All this stuff was going on. So they started giving more people home confinement from the halfway house. And they also used to charge you 25% of your rent of your income when you stayed at the halfway house. So the feds did away with that. So now the halfway house doesn't really want to keep you there because before they keep you there and they get 25% of your income. Man, it could be $1,000 a month,
Right.
So now they don't mind sending you to home confinement because they get a different pay. They're getting paid now, no matter what. So that opened up space in the halfway house. And anyways, they're giving jobs like if you work in the kitchen, they're calling it culinary. If you are mowing lawns and stuff, they call that like a landscaping or there's horticulture. They're turning the job into a learning trade and giving you credits for that. For just about anything, janitorial, if you're cleaning bathrooms. So they're calling that those work credits are now earned time credits. And I'm hearing this from people in the prison that have told me this. So you only need to do an hour a day. If they have classes at night, because I've heard people say, well, why don't I take 3 classes on Monday, 3 classes on Tuesday? That's 6 classes. They get it over with. You're only going to get credit for that one day. You could take 10 hours of classes or 1 hour classes. Doesn't matter.
You still get a day's credit for.
You only get a day's credit for 1 hour. So spread those classes out.
Yeah, that's what I plan on doing.
They'll have like 4 or 5 classes a night in different prisons. It'll be history. It'll be Spanish. We had one ancient Greece, and we just watched movies about ancient Greece. They had real estate taught by people there for real estate fraud, things like that. We had some guys who were teaching us science. There was a guy who worked at he was a scientist, worked at a lab, and what was his charge? It was something to do with chemicals and explosives and stuff, but it wasn't a terrorist act. But anyways, he was teaching us all about chemistry, man. But he could only show us so much. He wasn't teaching us how to make meth or anything, but we learned a lot. So it's all taught by inmates. There's GD classes in the day that's sometimes not taught by an inmate, but they always need inmates to teach other inmates, and that can become your job.
Yeah,
that also count as your earned time credits if you teach.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to take a course and figure out which course I liked, and the first one that really stuck with me, I wanted to teach it. So
let me get let me get the rest of these comments. Let me see. Brian Miller, he says, let me get back to where he's at. Scratch that. I did the same thing. I read more than I ever have in my entire life. Yeah, you'll actually finish a book in prison. And then you'll want to get the next book if it's as a series. I also was never in better shape in my life than I was when I got out. And he said, made goals of what you want to accomplish, and just make sure that Use the time to grow in the same way. It helps keep your mind from feeling down on yourself. Absolutely right. And there's a lot of guys that work out with each other, and they, it just becomes a passion in there.
Oh
I
yeah.
remember all those guys cared about was protein and weight pile and the weight pile. Really,
Yeah, last time I got out, man, I looked like I was on steroids. I was
yeah.
the best shape of my life too.
And then he says, what's his last thing he says? You're an awesome dude, and 3 years is just a drop in the bucket compared to life. Yeah. And
Thanks,
he's
Brian.
absolutely right. Everything he said is right on, man. Right on the money. Right on the money. Did we lose Sea Dog?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. I was hoping he came back. Anyways, yeah. What do we got going here? What have we not covered? It's been over an hour, so I'm gonna give you the floor, man. I'll shut up for once. I'll just let you talk. Okay?
Yeah. I mean, we've went over everything. I was just I just wanted to talk about what I'm going through. I've seen that you didn't. I've watched a lot of your videos. I've seen that you didn't have much on somebody facing a gun charge and the RDAP thing. So I just wanted to kind of bring that to your attention, see what you thought about it.
Maybe you can school us on guns. Maybe give talk about. I don't know much about guns, right? I've never had one. I've always wanted one, but I never got around to it.
They're fun. They're a good thing to have, But I don't like the fact knowing that somebody else has a gun and could come in my house, and I've got to protect myself with a chopstick. But yeah, man, I'm like, I have no problem. I'm gonna be fine. There's always a brighter day. I'm not worried about nothing. I've got a good support system. I think I'll be out a lot quicker than I was thinking a couple weeks ago.
Even without the RDAP, I think we got it down at what would say 20 months, maybe something like that. If you take all those programs, so you can get up to a year halfway house. Actually, theoretically, you can get 18 months halfway house time. I've never seen anybody get it.
Right.
Yet,
I don't expect to get that.
But supposedly you can. But a year is common now. So you get a year, and you'll do some of that will be home confinement. In your case, the last 4 months will be home confinement, and then you have your good time. So you're gonna have 8 months, 2 months for every year. So you have 8 months off your good time, and then the year for the halfway house. So that's 18 months taken off your 4 years. The RDAP's nice because the RDAP will give you another year off, but usually when you get RDAP, you only get 6 months halfway house time.
Right.
But they're supposed to with the First Step Act credit, it's supposed to give you the whole year.
I would take it anyway, especially if it's going to go towards like halfway house time or something. Just the fact that, and plus, that's still considered a program you're doing, so that could take days off.
Yeah, time will go by pretty quick. For you're a short timer. You're a real short timer. I had a 52-month sentence, and I got most of that, half of that taken off with the RDAP and stuff, but it went by quick, man. I still did 3 years. It went by fast, man. It did. There's some slow months, but it goes by. You just get busy, man. You go to work, you work out. I was in a rock band. I had my TV shows I watch. I got guys I hang out with. We walk the track every night. Card games you go to, movie night on Saturdays. That guy Larry that was in the room here earlier, he was in the band with me. And there's another guy, Max, who I work with, and he was in the band with. And there's another guy lives about an hour's drive from here, and he was in the band. There was 4 of us. We're gonna get the band back together. We got 3 of us now. So
that's pretty cool.
You'll have some fun in prison, man.
Yeah. Yep, I'm sure I will.
Yeah, they have real equipment. Microphones, drums, electric guitars, all kinds of speakers. We did shows outside, like 4th of July. I put together a talent show, like open mic in prison, and I put flyers up. So the what was it? The unit director was nice to me. Let me print up flyers. I put them all over the camp for people to sign up. I think I had 12 or 13 or 14 acts, and any race, it didn't matter. Mexican, black, we didn't care. But everybody got to do a set, Some guys 20 minutes, some 3 songs, some guys were playing 8 songs. We had mariachi bands. Just everybody, did their show, and then we was outdoors, and cars are driving by. We don't have a fence, and people are stopping, and they can see us playing, and it was fun, man. And they barbecue on 4th of July. They have watermelon. You get a hamburger and a hot dog. You get apple pie. You get potato salad, and I think beans and corn. And then they give you a sack lunch to take home for dinner. And that was what was that? That was like a turkey sandwich, and then you get to take the apple pie and the mashed potatoes and the cornbread and all that stuff that from the lunch you get to take home. Anyways, you take a dinner home, and then we had the show outside, and I swear to God, it was probably one of the best 4th of Julys I've had in a long time, and I was in prison. And
yeah, it sounds pretty awesome.
You'll experience that. Yeah. Softball, baseball is big. Man, don't miss it. Watch. If you don't play it, watch it. Because the people in the stands, we go off the hook, man. We are yelling and screaming, and we're rooting for our team. It's a lot of fun, man. Best baseball games I've ever seen is in prison, man. Nothing like a prison baseball game when you're sitting there watching it, man. I'm telling you. So there's some good things that happen in there. You got to look for the small miracles, man. That's what I call them tiny miracles. The guy's out there having fun, hitting a home run, and all of a sudden he hits a home run and it's gone. He's not in prison right now. He just hit a home run. He's running the field. He's not in prison. He just escaped. And you could see the smile on his face when it happens. I mean, just things like that. Tiny miracles happen in prison, man.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Don't forget that, man. Don't forget to laugh. Don't forget to laugh while you're in there. Have a sense of humor. It'll get you through it, man.
Oh yeah, I'm a little comedian, but
Good.
yeah, I've got good spirits about it. I've already prepared myself mentally. I'm just gonna go in there. I'm gonna take everything I can from whatever situation. I'm gonna work out and try to better myself, get some certificates.
Take my email. Grab my email address if you have it because I sent you this link.
Right.
But email me, man. If you want me to look something up on the computer, I'll send anything to you. But we can't send pictures. All you can send is text. But I can copy and paste anything you want. You want 10 pages? Something? I still, a couple of guys play guitar, and I look up songs for them with the lyrics and the chords, and I send that to them. I email that to them. Nice. One guy gives me 3 songs a week. I do it all the time. So anything you want me to look up, man, let me know. Because sometimes your family's not always going to do that for you, or they get tired of doing it, and they're already putting money in your book, and you already did this to me, and you already left us. I don't have the time to go, look something up on Google for you, man. I did, that's their attitude, so I'll do it for you, man.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah. I appreciate your advice and help on the matter because, lawyers. I mean, at least the lawyers I've always had, they haven't been to prison. They
don't know really what happens after you get sentenced.
Right. They can just tell me what's going on before I go in there. They're like, we got to keep you out of there. But once you're in there, I mean, like they told me whenever I called and asked anything, they're like, look, I'm going to be honest, we don't know nothing about that. You're just going to have to talk to somebody once you're in there. I'm like, well, crap, because, it's hard to do stuff in there without any help.
Yeah.
But,
this is true. This is true. There's a bond that goes on. You bond with these guys. It's like when people go to the Army and they go to war and stuff, and they come back and they're war buddies. I mean, you are going to serve some time for your government right now.
Right, no kidding.
For 12 cents an hour.
Yeah.
So, man. Give me a call though if more questions come up in your head before you go in. What you could bring and what have you, but I really want to thank you for coming on the show today. Thank you very much. It takes a lot of courage to come up and tell who knows how many thousands of people that you're going to prison. I mean, that takes a lot of courage to tell the world that, man. Because this video will be in reruns for when you get out of prison. It'll be here. YouTube owns it now. Well, as soon as I hit the end button, as soon as I hit the button, YouTube owns it. So I can't stop them. So it'll be So this is something you could show your grandchildren, one day, or great-grandchildren or something.
Yeah, cool. I hope you get a lot more people to come on the show and talk to you. And, I think by the time I get out, you'll be doing some big things, man.
Thank you. No, thank you. Yeah, I'm working on it. I had a guy who was in a motorcycle gang, and he got a RICO Act charge, and he was going to come on yesterday. And then he calls up and says, my lawyer said I can't do it, man. I'm not allowed on any social media. But he's the one who asked if he could do it, so I didn't mind. But but his lawyer, I was afraid he was going to back out. He had too much good stuff to talk about. You know, motorcycle clubs, RICO acts, man. We were going to have one little hell of a conversation going.
No kidding.
But cool. I had Matt Cox on here. You know, he was the what was he? The Treasury, not the FBI, but the Department of Treasury, I guess. He was on their most wanted list for a long time. You know who Matt Cox is? You ever watch his channel?
Nuh-uh.
He's got a big channel. He's got 100,000 subscribers.
Now I've watched yours, and then I've seen like RDAP Dance and some other guy.
Yeah, you got Sea Dog. He was on here today, and he has a channel. There's about 25 guys now that I talk to with other channels. We go on each other's shows now. We've all hooked up. We have our own little private message chat room in Facebook, and we all meet there, and we vent out our YouTube frustrations, or we give advice to each other on how to do a better video and how to edit things.
You just got to keep grinding. Just keep putting that content out.
Yeah, I want to have a YouTube convention. That's my goal. If I ever get big enough to afford it, I'll invite everybody. We'll have an annual YouTube creators convention. If they don't even have them now, they must have that now. I don't know, but I want to start one for our genre.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll get it.
But man, I wish you all the best, man. And you have kids, right?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't have kids? Because I was going to ask you what you tell the kids when you're going off to prison. Because I know some guys wait till the last day to tell their kids. I mean, they told them that Daddy's got to go away, but then they wait till the last day to tell them. You know.
Yeah, that'd be a tough situation, man. I'm glad I don't have a child I'm leaving behind.
Have you said all your goodbyes to everybody that you care to say goodbye to?
Pretty much. I'm probably about to have a big get together on the lake somewhere. It's gonna be really nice.
Nice.
And we'll probably get together and just hang out and talk about the old days and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say, anybody that's dealing with this or about to get sentenced or have just got sentenced, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, it sucks, and tough times is what makes the strongest people. So everybody just keep y'all's heads up. I'll be fine. Y'all will be fine.
Yeah, thank you. If any of you guys didn't put in your paperwork that you have an alcohol or drug problem, I have 2 licensed therapists, drug counselors, and directors of programs that can do a letter for you. So give me a call. Numbers underneath all the videos. And I'm working with RDAP Dan guys. So if you can't get a hold of him, and we're kind of he's helping me, and I've known RDAP Dan for 10 years before I went to prison. He helped me out. Now I'm trying to pay it forward, and that's why I do these videos. So I wish you nothing but the best, man. Take my email, and like I said, give me a call before you go in if you can. Just say goodbye, and I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it too, man. I appreciate your time.
You bet. You're welcome, man. All right. Have a good night. Yep.